The Dodgers received shocking news that has left the entire organization in a state of heightened tension and concern. Just hours before the highly anticipated game against the Mariners, Shohei Ohtani participated in his second pitching practice session with Ben Rortvedt, the newly signed catcher who joined the team on a 5-year contract. However, what was supposed to be a routine preparation session turned into something far more dramatic and emotionally charged. During the practice, an unprecedented incident occurred when Mookie Betts suddenly yelled at Ohtani in front of the entire team, shocking everyone present and raising serious questions about what could have prompted such an outburst from one of the team's most respected veterans. But that's not all. Ben Rortvedt made his official public appearance in a Dodgers uniform for the first time, wearing a brand new number that carries deep significance. The symbolism of this moment represents far more than just another player joining the roster. It marks the beginning of a historic partnership between catcher and pitcher that could define the Dodgers' success for years to come. When the Dodgers took the field for their pre-game practice session yesterday afternoon, the atmosphere at the stadium was electric with anticipation. Shohei Ohtani had been medically cleared to pitch, and his second session working with Ben Rortvedt would be the final preparation before his return to the mound in competitive play against the Mariners. The coaching staff had meticulously planned this workout to ensure that both pitcher and catcher would be completely synchronized and ready for the demands of game day. Ben Rortvedt arrived at the bullpen area wearing his new Dodgers uniform for the first time in an official capacity in front of the media and fans. The number he was wearing immediately drew attention from photographers and reporters who had been waiting to see which jersey number Ohtani had personally selected for his new battery mate. As Rortvedt walked onto the field, his presence immediately commanded attention. He carried himself with confidence and professionalism, acknowledging teammates with nods and waves while maintaining his focus on the task at hand. Several players who observed Rortvedt entering the bullpen commented that he looked completely different wearing the Dodgers uniform. The jersey fit perfectly, and the number visible on his back represented Ohtani's personal endorsement and trust. According to witnesses, Rortvedt seemed genuinely moved to be wearing the uniform for the first time, pausing briefly to take in the moment before proceeding to his catching position behind home plate. Shohei Ohtani arrived at the bullpen a few minutes later, and immediately, he spotted Ben Rortvedt in his new uniform. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Ohtani's face brightened considerably when he saw his new teammate dressed in Dodgers colors for the first time. The two men exchanged a quick greeting, and Ohtani appeared to compliment Rortvedt on how the uniform looked on him. This brief interaction showcased the genuine respect and camaraderie that has developed between these two individuals in such a short period. The second practice session began smoothly. Ohtani took his position on the mound while Rortvedt crouched behind home plate, ready to receive pitches. The coaching staff had designed this session to focus on consistency and comfort with the new battery pairing. Ohtani began with fastballs, working on accuracy and velocity as Rortvedt framed each pitch and provided feedback about what he was seeing. For the first several minutes, everything proceeded normally. Ohtani was throwing well, his mechanics looked clean, and his fastball was hitting the upper 90s consistently. Rortvedt was communicating effectively with hand signals and occasional trips to the mound to discuss adjustments. The chemistry between pitcher and catcher appeared to be developing exactly as the organization had hoped when they invested in their partnership. However, approximately 20 minutes into the session, something unexpected occurred that would change the entire atmosphere of the practice. According to witnesses, Ohtani began pushing himself harder, increasing his velocity and throwing with more intensity than the coaches had prescribed for this particular workout. The pitching coach had established specific guidelines for this session, including pitch counts and rest intervals, but Ohtani appeared to be gradually ignoring these parameters. Mookie Betts, who had been observing the practice from the sidelines as he warmed up for his own batting practice, noticed the concerning pattern in Ohtani's behavior. Betts had positioned himself near the bullpen to watch his teammates work, and he quickly recognized that Ohtani was beginning to exceed the recommended intensity levels for this session. As someone who has played alongside many great athletes throughout his career, Betts understood the danger of a recovering pitcher pushing too hard too soon. According to multiple eyewitnesses present at the time, Betts' concern escalated rapidly as Ohtani continued throwing harder and harder. The veteran outfielder watched as the Japanese superstar threw pitch after pitch at near maximum effort, seemingly becoming more aggressive rather than more controlled. Other players noticed Betts' expression changing from casual observation to obvious worry and frustration. Then, suddenly, Mookie Betts could no longer contain himself. The normally composed and professional veteran player shouted loudly across the bullpen area directly at Shohei Ohtani. According to witnesses, Betts yelled something along the lines of, "Shohei, you need to slow down. Follow the plan." His voice was clearly audible throughout the practice facility, and several players who were nearby immediately stopped what they were doing to see what was happening. The shocking outburst from Betts caught everyone completely by surprise. The veteran outfielder is known for his quiet professionalism and rarely raises his voice in public settings. The fact that he felt compelled to yell at Ohtani in front of the entire team indicated that he was genuinely concerned about something significant. Pitching coach Mark Prior immediately made his way to the mound, clearly understanding what had prompted Betts' outburst. Prior had also noticed that Ohtani was deviating from the prescribed practice parameters. The coach's expression suggested that he was equally frustrated with the situation, though his response was more measured and professional than Betts' public outburst. According to sources close to the situation, Prior confronted Ohtani directly on the mound. The pitching coach explained that the team had carefully designed this practice session based on specific medical recommendations from the rehabilitation team. Prior emphasized that Ohtani's job was to follow the plan, not to decide on his own that he could push harder. The coach reminded Ohtani that one mistake now could result in serious injury and derail his return to pitching for an extended period. Ben Rortvedt, standing behind home plate, observed the entire interaction between Betts, Prior, and Ohtani. According to witnesses, Rortvedt appeared to understand the issue immediately. The young catcher had reviewed Ohtani's medical clearance documents and understood the specific parameters that had been established for this session. Rortvedt remained professionally focused on his role, waiting for the situation to be resolved so that practice could continue in a controlled manner. After Prior finished his discussion with Ohtani, the Japanese superstar appeared to accept the coach's feedback. Ohtani nodded, indicating his understanding, and Prior returned to his position near the sidelines. The pitching coach then made eye contact with Mookie Betts, who had returned to his position near the batting cage. According to witnesses, Prior gave Betts an approving nod, suggesting that the coach appreciated the veteran player's intervention and concern for Ohtani's well-being. The practice resumed, but now with significantly more conservative parameters. Ohtani threw with controlled intensity, staying within the prescribed pitch count and rest intervals. His mechanics remained excellent, and he appeared to have internalized the feedback from both Betts and Prior. Rortvedt continued working effectively behind the plate, maintaining communication with Ohtani and ensuring that every pitch was being thrown with purpose and control. Several veteran players later commented on what they had witnessed. Freddie Freeman told reporters that Mookie Betts' outburst actually demonstrated excellent leadership and genuine care for a teammate. Freeman explained that protecting a star player from his own competitive instincts is often the most important role a veteran can play. The veteran first baseman added that Ohtani should be grateful to have teammates who care enough to speak up when they see him potentially putting his health at risk. Will Smith, the team's regular starting catcher, also commented on the incident. Smith expressed respect for both Betts and Prior for their willingness to confront Ohtani about his behavior. Smith noted that in his experience, even the greatest athletes sometimes need reminding that patience and following the plan is more important than pushing harder or proving something during a practice session. Later that evening, Mookie Betts was asked directly about his outburst during the practice session. Betts appeared somewhat apologetic about yelling so publicly but defended his actions as necessary. He explained that he had become genuinely concerned when he observed Ohtani ignoring the medical team's recommendations. Betts said that from his perspective as a teammate, he felt obligated to say something rather than remain silent and watch Ohtani potentially injure himself. "Look, I have tremendous respect for Shohei," Betts told reporters. "He's one of the greatest players in baseball history. But sometimes even the greatest players need to be reminded that following the plan is more important than being tough or trying to prove something." If yelling at him helps him stay healthy and ready for this season, then I have no regrets about speaking up. Betts also mentioned that his concern was not just about Ohtani's individual health but about the team's championship aspirations. Betts emphasized that having a healthy, available Ohtani for the entire season is far more valuable than having him at maximum effort for one practice session before getting injured. The veteran outfielder's perspective reflected the thinking of many veteran players and coaches who understand the long-term implications of short-term decisions.